order. The committee would like to welcome the audience. Viewers may watch live board committee meetings online at tcaps.net/board. Recorded meetings may be viewed on demand at the same address. So there is no public comment here today, so we'll just keep on moving on. First procedural item, we are at the draft meeting minutes. Are there any changes to the draft meeting minutes? If hearing none, then those will remain as posted. And then board policy updates, I'll defer to Connie Taylor.
Yeah, we did a lot of legwork last week, or the board meeting, I guess it wasn't last week, it was on Monday.
Yeah.
There was one,
Feels like it was last
one thing still remaining out there, that trustee Pack had asked that we look at potential revisions to the sex ed policy. And I had said I would go back, because I was pretty certain that much of that was statutory and related, and we were not able to change it. So I need to make one minor correction to my original statement to trustee Pack.
And me too,
Yes.
because I kind of forgot about this, but, just transparency.
I came back and pulled up all the related statutes, and the only element that is actually required that the district do education on is the communicable disease portion.
With HIV and AIDS.
Yes. And so districts have the option then to offer the full sex ed curriculum, which this district has done for a number of years. And then they have the very, procedural things that you have to do in order to develop that curriculum, the committee, how often it needs to be reviewed. And that's really what our policy reflects. And it has to reflect that because the board has in fact elected to offer sex education as part of the TCAPS curriculum as an elective. So I just wanted to put it out there that so long as that continues to be the will of the board, that our policy really cannot be changed as it is written. But I wanted to correct myself and to say that when she indicated that the sex ed is voluntary, or it technically is, but with the exception of the communicable disease portion. So I wanted to share that with the executive committee. If anyone wanted to, reconsider whether or not the district continues to offer that's completely the district's prerogative. But so long as we do, our policy needs to read as it's written.
I always thought that was all part of state law as well, honestly.
I long ago, I knew that piece of it, and I'd kind of forgotten that part, and so I stand guilty as corrected as well.
I came walking into Dr. Van Ryder's office with some statutes, and I'm like, I think there's a little bit of an adjustment we need to make on some of the statements made.
So in my superintendent's report, I plan on addressing that.
Okay.
As well, just so know, and then the policy will be there.
Okay, got it. Did you let Beth know on it?
No, I will though.
Okay, okay.
So at this point, I don't have any recommended changes to the current policy. It just, if we continue to stay the current path, then the policy needs to contain the information that it does.
Okay.
But if we went in a different direction, we would need to look at a different policy.
Okay, that needs to be moved back then to our full board for approval then on.
Well, the policy is anyway.
Okay,
So I think that having it as a discussion item is a good idea.
okay.
In that aspect, just to reaffirm the board's position on doing it.
Yeah. Public
Technically, still not too late if the board changes to reverse course, it's there, but
Yeah.
I think it's important to have that just to identify that and stand corrected on the law and the board's commitment.
Okay, perfect. Will you just make sure that, Tammy, that gets added to a discussion item? That's great.
But other than that, that is the only policy update that we have, is we've already approved all the other updates, so that would be it for the board meeting.
Okay, excellent, excellent. Any questions? Okay. So we'll go on to the September 8th agenda review, and I will defer to Dr. Van Weiner.
Okay, so we'll have our call to order, our pledge, our approval of the agenda. We are recognizing Step Up Northern Michigan at this point. I believe we've confirmed that they will be there from that standpoint. I know that's a question you had for me.
Yeah.
And so we will have them here and talk about the long-standing commitment they've had, especially to Traverse City High School. And so we are excited to recognize them. We'll have our first public comment, legislative update and district highlights. We will have report outs on our curriculum, finance, and executive committees. We will have, thank you. We have our board office hour report out that you have tonight, I believe.
Yeah.
Right? And then under consent, currently we have the course catalog. Again, went through the curriculum committee. We do not have any updates this month, but we always keep it as a standing agenda item. Our meeting minutes. And then under discussion, as always, our school safety update. We have the bid services and purchases for the Saban change order that was discussed in finance today and approved to bring to the full board. We have the board sex education policy that we just talked about. So we'll make sure to have clarification on that with the policy as we just discussed. And currently we have ratification of contracts. The only one that's still there, the TCA, has yet to get a complete vote on whether that is. So if for some reason that was not there, we would inform the board. But tentatively, this is what we have right now on there for the board to have discussions on. And then we have the public comment number 2. And then our board president closing remarks and adjournment. I currently do not have a closed session on here. I'm still waiting to see if I do get correspondence from our lawyer at Troon. If that happens, I'd like to reserve the right to add that if I do in fact get that. If I don't, we will not go into closed sessions because under OMA it's required to have that attorney communication for the board to go into closed session. So,
Okay, yeah,
so at this point, that is what we have for the agenda.
okay, great, yeah, and I would say absolutely add it on if you, add it into the agenda.
Are we gonna bring the strategic plan for action?
That is a question, I believe we did discuss that, yes, so we do wanna put, I don't believe so.
I won't put that on there, sorry.
Nope.
I must have erased it accidentally. It was on there, it's after the.
Perfect.
Okay, so we'll have that. I did have a question today that I know that Beth proposed to the whole board for the strategic plan, so I do still plan on bringing that as a discussion item still before any kind of vote on it that was asked about a special education metric, but again, it'll be the board's privy, if they wanna entertain it or not, but I did plan on at the board meeting just before that to throw that out there that it was discussed by a board member. So,
Okay.
just because of OMA and all that, not corresponding any kind of email back to the board, anything that, it would have to be discussed at this point, at a full board meeting,
Okay,
so.
okay.
So that's it.
Okay, got it. All right, any other questions? Okay, so then, first informational item, human resources, Dr. Connie Taylor.
All right, our staffing update that we do every month. Feeling really, really good about where we are with staffing. I know I should knock on some wood, but as you know, the board had considered and looked at the number of splits in the district and had essentially given Dr. Van Wagner authorization to seek out some staff members to potentially dissolve some of those splits. And I can tell you that we were very fortunate. I would have lost a bet because of where we were late in the season, but we hired our last teacher last Friday. We were able to dissolve 5 of the splits that we had with
Wow.
additional teaching staff, and really happy about the quality of candidates.
And it's important, we have 4, and then one's a student teacher that we're using under a sub that's with 2 really strong 5th grade teachers that are gonna be a mentor. So it's really 4 certified.
Correct.
At this point that we were able to find. We do still have 2 that, I'm not in love with. We have, at, both, Westwoods and at Willow Hill, we have 2, a 2nd and I think a 3rd grade sitting out there with some high numbers. We do have aides, 3-hour aides in those classes. But at this point, talking kind of this morning, we do not, we exhausted our last possible, late applied candidate on Friday. I had a parent actually emailed the whole board just a little while ago, a group of parents. And so what I had said is at this point, there's a combination. A, we have no state budget to really know if there are additional resources. And more importantly, we do not have a quality teacher that's in our pool right now to put in front of kids. And I think that, we are very much in belief that we're not going to put a bad teacher in front of kids just to try and lower numbers. So we've got those as best we can. I have told the parents that once we get a state budget and if finances are there to bring to the board, I'm willing to have another conversation. Again, I think after 5 weeks, when we probably have a state budget, it's gonna be even, it's impossible to a point now of having quality candidates. I can't fathom, but you never know. With Coast Guard families move in, that we would visit that with the board, at that point, once we have a budget and we know. But at this point, we are literally days away from this point, so I've staffed it the very best we can with the candidates we have across the district. The class that we had a teacher that that we had hired and left. We had to replace those at Central Grade that Friday that we had our last candidate in the pool that we felt quality, that it was a late applicant. The posting's still sitting right now, but I just, as board members get questions and stuff, that's literally where we stand from an HR standpoint.
Well, thank you for listening to the board and dissolving the 5 splits that were there. Truly, I think, yeah. So we understand, you know, I mean, obviously, no budget and it's hard to make those calls and like you said, without staff, I mean,
Yeah.
so, wow, okay.
Any questions on that, Ty?
No.
Yeah, and I hope we kept you well informed of where all the sections were.
Yeah.
You know, numbers are pretty much where, you know, that's
Yeah.
been the last few weeks, and, you know, we did have a couple kids less at Westwood, so that got a little better than it was. So we stand right now.
Okay.
So that's really from an instructional standpoint, our certified teaching staff, they were back this week. We had them in their buildings on Tuesday and all district training yesterday, and then today in building training. So it was great to see everyone at Central High School yesterday. I just want to shout out to the C&I team and to Tammy for organizing the day yesterday, and for all of our sponsors who came and provided food and snacks and lunch for all of our staff. I mean, there's, you know, close to 500 teaching staff, and so it was a lot. We also had a number of, if you remember previous years, our opening day, we'd have people around the track. And because we decided not to do the opening day like ceremony this year, we still wanted to engage those partners, and so many of them were at Central High School yesterday participating. Our staff were able to go around and visit all of them. They donated some door prizes, which we made available to all of our staff. So I think staff were pretty positive about the new format, and I just, you know, kudos to the C&I team and to Tammy for pulling that off yesterday. It was no small endeavor, but very, very exciting to see all the teaching staff, all the staff back. I've been able to go to the opening meetings for a number of our different groups, and everyone looks rested and ready to get back at it. So we're excited to have them
I think
all
our
back.
format this year of you know, the first day was in buildings, and so they had staff meetings and had time in their classrooms. Feedback we've had just standing there as teachers, like they just loved that opportunity. And then had the all day yesterday. Real shout out to Jimmy Johns, especially Josh and his wife. They donated 500 sandwiches,
Wow.
you know, to the teaching staff to be able to have lunch.
Wow.
And chips and cookies.
Yeah, they
and
got
the
up at
whole-
6 a.m., had their team making sandwiches and all that.
Wow.
Just, they are so supportive of our schools, and just thank them so much.
Yeah.
Kelly in our CNI, I mean, she ran ragged for days to pull off all that. The Oriana socks were popular, you know, as a give out item across. That was pretty cool, but just tons and tons of positive feedback. And PD today I had the chance to go over all of our middle school folks were over at East today, or West rather, middle school. So got to see all them and all the principals working together across the buildings, and just that, and had the chance to go to the staff meeting at West High School. It was great. Just really, really good sessions, I feel, the last 3 days.
Right. Good, exciting.
Yeah, very exciting.
Yeah.
So really what we're looking from a certified staff or teaching staff, we do have one full-time building sub available, so that's on our website. And from our AFSCME, our maintenance custodial grounds, we have just a couple of vacancies in our custodial ranks, both at Central High School, a second and third shift. These are all full-time. A bus mechanic, still vacant full-time. And then we also have a lead maintenance technician, a full-time position within our AFSCME group. So those are all on our website. And then in our instructional, our TCAPS ranks, we have a number of part-time instructional assistant positions available, media parapro, split support, noon duty, extended daycare, and we also have one full-time toddler room assistant at Montessori available. So we encourage folks to go. Our team are in interviews all day, every day, trying to get those filled in. But overall, compared to previous years, we're feeling really, really good about where we stand from a staffing standpoint. And then we are continuing to do our open interviews, and I will tell you, you know, they work, because we had a special ed opening and we had a gentleman walk in at one of our open interviews, a special ed teacher. So we were able to fill one of our elementary vacancies, and so our next coming up are here in this building. We do them on Wednesdays. Next one is September 17th. We alternate AM and PM. So the 17th is from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. And then the following month, October, is October 15th, and those are 3 to 5 p.m. right here in this building, and you'll sit down and talk to someone about our vacancies, and we've been really, really pleased with the candidates that are just coming in to see us, so please continue to do so.
What was that October date?
October 15th,
15th, okay, perfect. All right.
and that's what I have for staffing.
Good, well, it sounds great, seeing as how we're just a couple days away from our first day of school, so it's a good job, I'm sure you've been working so hard trying to fill all those positions, so excited to get the year off on the right foot.
It's the HR team, the best I've ever worked with, and they're phenomenal, and this time of year, they all deserve a vacation, but everybody taking a little bit of a breather this last weekend before we go into the school year, but like literally marathon interviews and identifying candidates and making offers and onboarding and planning our new teacher orientation and presenting at our new teacher orientations. I mean, everybody's just all hands on deck, so
Aw,
we're very, very appreciative.
that's great, good, 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 well, excellent, thanks for the update. And any other items? Anyone have anything else? Okay, so I will adjourn, our next exec meeting is October 2nd, 4 o'clock in this room, and other than that, I'll adjourn.